Picture this. You've been dating her for 8 months. You pay her rent. You cover every omakase dinner. You're completely smitten. It's a rainy Tuesday night, and you drop her off outside her apartment. You reach across the console just to hold her hand. A simple, quiet moment before she goes inside. She slides her hand away, smoothly, pulls out her phone, snaps the rain-streaked window, and taps on her WeChat moments. An uploaded photo, a typed-out caption, but no sign of you. The caption reads, "So peaceful driving alone in the rain tonight." Then, she locks her phone, kisses your cheek, and says, "Thanks for the ride, babe." The door shuts. You watch her back as her eyes are glued to the screen. You pull up your own phone and scroll through her moments. Last Friday at the gym, a standard 9-grid post, posing in the mirror after a workout. The caption, "Coach says my form is 10 out of 10. But right there, in the bottom corner frame, his hand is on her hip. You scroll down. A group photo from a work dinner 3 days ago. Everyone, smiling for the camera. You notice a male colleague with his hand draped over her shoulder, and she leans in close. Your stomach churns, and a familiar ache creeps up. You scroll further down, looking for a footprint of you. You want to text her, but you pause, because you already know what she'll say. You can already hear her voice ringing softly. "They're just friends. We've been besties since we were kids." So you put down your phone, and you start to drive, and let the silence swallow you. Before you know it, you sign up for the Validation Vampire's VIP package, where you're just part of an ecosystem of men who stock up her supply of validation, while you slowly bleed out your pockets and your emotional well-being. Welcome to the show, I'm Liam, and here on The Glitch in the Room, we look at relationships through the lens of red, sharing the stories and signals that reveal what modern dating culture really looks like. So just sit back, relax, and make yourselves comfortable. Meet the Bailianhua, the white lotus. On red, this isn't just a flower. It's a psychological cloaking device. Someone who seems so pure, so fragile, so harmless. She seems gentle, too polite to ever say no. The kind of person who never looks like a threat. But underneath that softness is a parasitic need. Because she doesn't just accept kindness. She harvests it, craves and feeds on emotion. She's what we call a validation vampire. You see, a traditional zanu or scum girl prefers to toy with your feelings. And a laonu or gold digger tracks your wallet purely for the material things. But the Bailianhua is a much higher tier. Her currency isn't just your wallet. It's your peace of mind. What makes her truly terrifying isn't that she's a calculated actress. It's that she genuinely believes her own lie. A white lotus is entirely blind to her own corruption. In her own mind, she chooses to be completely pure, the ultimate image of an absolute, blameless white. And because she has cast herself as the perfect, innocent victim, she forces you to play the villain. Let's fast forward to a Friday. You go over to her apartment in the afternoon, walk into the bathroom to wash your hands. On the counter, 3 identical luxury skincare boxes, still neatly wrapped. You look in the living room, a fresh scent of roses drifting from the table, accompanied by a brand new designer bag sitting on the chair. Where did all this come from? She pauses, looking at you with a soft, weary sigh. Hal sent the skincare, Ming got the bag, and Coach sent the flowers. I told them not to, but they just insist. Why don't you just send them back? She looks at you, eyes wide, not with anger, but with a fragile sorrow, as if your question is a blow to her character. If I return them, it ruins the friendship. They would just be nice. I don't want to hurt their feelings. She shakes her head and walks to the kitchen, leaving you standing there feeling incredibly petty, wondering if you are the problem. A week later, you're out with her colleagues. You sit right next to her, exactly where a boyfriend should be. But as the night goes on, you realize you might as well be a ghost. Across the table, you recognize the male colleague from the dinner table, sharing inside jokes from the office. They repeatedly lean across the glasses to whisper things you can't quite hear. At one point, she laughs, face up close to his for a split second before catching herself. You nudge her under the table as a kind reminder. She turns to you. Her eyes soften instantly, melting into an expression of warm, patient tolerance, the way you look at a child throwing a tantrum in public. She reaches down and pats your knee. Babe, don't do this here. We're celebrating his promotion. Let's just be happy for him. She turns back again, laughing, before her hand even leaves your knee. And you spend the rest of the night practicing your smile in the dim light, apologizing in your head for poisoning her mood with your insecurity. Thursday night. She tells you she's completely suffocated by your constant monitoring. She needs a weekend spa getaway alone to clear her head. You feel entirely responsible. You want to fix it. You book a luxury resort for her using your own credit card. Go relax, babe. Let me take care of it. 2 days later, you're sitting alone on your couch. You open your phone and start scrolling. A new post appears. It's from that same male colleague. A geotag at the exact same resort you just paid for. It's a photo of 2 champagne glasses by a private pool. And in the reflection of the glass balcony, you see her, wearing the robe you just gifted. Your phone vibrates right on cue. A notification from the banking app. Room service charged at the resort. She didn't just go on a romantic getaway with another man. She's currently funding his entire weekend, using your card. Let's have a look at what people have to say. This is a top-tier White Lotus. He paid for her lifestyle and she used his card to fund her side piece? Bro, you need to run. She drained him for good. People aren't confused. They're exhausted just by the last scene. After the initial shock, people start mapping out the mechanics of how it happened. The community points out a concept called covert selfishness. Notice how she operates? She managed to clear out his bank account without ever looking like she was asking for a dime. Another adds, a typical gold digger makes it obvious. A White Lotus makes you feel like giving her your credit card was your own brilliant idea. This psychological maneuver only works because it's wrapped in a very specific defense mechanism similar to a martyr complex. They point to the gifts in their apartment. No, sis, you just love the attention. Those gifts are a trophy room disguised as a burden. I don't want to hurt their feelings. What about your boyfriend's feelings? She acts like rejecting a gift is a sin, but trampling on her partner's boundaries is totally fine. Being generous with your partner's peace of mind just to protect a random colleague's comfort isn't kindness. It's calculated. And that leads to the next observation. The public dynamic at the lounge dinner. The subtle shift into forced villainy. She speaks so softly and acts so patient in public that she completely forces you to play the villain just for having basic boundaries. She doesn't raise her voice. She just pats your knee and that is enough to make you seem like the toxic one. But the deepest realization in the comments isn't about her tactics. It's about her internal state of mind. It's what's known as delusional innocence. A green tea girl knows she's putting on a show, but a White Lotus genuinely believes her own script. In her head, she is always the one who tried her best, which means she feels absolute zero guilt. As you go further along these posts, people stop looking at her actions. They start looking at the aftermath. Because the most terrifying thing about a White Lotus isn't that she breaks your trust. It's that she completely dismantles your perception of reality, leaving you drowning in a version of the story where you are the monster in the room. When you look past the cheating, a deeper issue emerges. What makes a White Lotus truly dangerous isn't the act of betrayal. It's the total impossibility of closure. In a normal conflict, you can point to an action and establish a boundary. But when a partner's entire identity is built on being fragile and blameless, accountability becomes impossible. The strategy relies on a total shift of perspective. The moment you question their lack of boundaries, they don't defend their choices, they defend their character. By reacting with hurt or breaking into tears, they subtly rewrite the narrative. The moment you confront them, the issue is no longer what they did, it's your cruelty for even asking. Over time, this dynamic forces you into permanent self-doubt. You spend the relationship walking on eggshells, constantly minimizing your own needs just to protect the comfort. By the time the actual betrayal happens, you have already been trained to doubt your own reality. You spend months fighting an enemy who fights completely in reverse, using their tears to draw your blood. And when the illusion finally shatters, the anger doesn't actually go toward them. It turns completely inward. You are left wondering what was real in the relationship.